Live. Okay, good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Good morning, Ella. How's it going?
Good morning, Hatham. I'm not too bad. How are you?
How do? I'm good, thanks. What we cracking on with today then? Did you say you spill something?
No, the stream was on.
Oh, okay, like real loud. Okay. Yeah, to try have if you can have it on, just mute it. It'll be fine.
There we go. I think it's okay.
Okay, nice little technical difficulty to start the day off. Yeah, I hope everyone's well. Whoever's here, I don't know who's here yet. What are we up to today then, Ella?
What are we up to today?
Yeah.
Well, we're doing a family e-safety, the first session ever. So this is a brand new stream, a brand new course.
Yeah.
And hopefully there's some people here.
Yeah, but some people might be watching back on a replay as well, right?
Yes, that's true. So,
So hi
yeah,
guys, ahead of time.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hi, whether you're here live or whether you're here not live.
Yeah.
Hi.
Hi. So first of all, just if you want to quickly cover the enrollment sort of process. Go on.
Yeah. So for this course, I know we always ask you to do the surveys and stuff. If you could fill those in, that would be fantastic. But we will need you to fill in a really short enrolment form for this course, because otherwise we won't be able to fund them and we can't put on more streams just like it. So we would really appreciate you filling in those enrollments. So if you just get in touch with us via email or whatever, or just let us know that you're here and we can email you, whichever is fine.
Yeah, I'm just putting our emails in the chat now, so that even if you're watching this on a replay, they should come back up. So these should come up in the live chat replay on the side.
Yep.
I'm just making sure I spell them right. So
What was
there's
I gonna say?
two email addresses there. So yeah, if you are watching this back in the live chat replay, there will be our emails. I'll make sure they're in the description as well, to get in touch.
Great.
If you can get in touch with us on Facebook as well, if that's what you'd prefer, we can sort it out via that as well.
Yeah. If you do get in touch with us and fill in the enrolment, we can email you some slides and some resources as well. So it's it's not something for nothing. So
you get something out of it. That's always handy. Okay, cool. Yeah, so obviously, like Ella said, the survey really helpful. We can get your email address through there if you'd prefer to give us it that way. So there's a field in there where you can put your email address, and then we can get in touch with you through that. If you want to get in touch with us as well, both the emails are in there. Obviously, the normal social media channels. If you want to message the page, that's fine. On Facebook, the Media Savvy CIC page, that's also okay. Someone will deal with that. If you're feeling up to it and you want to DM us on Twitter, that is also appropriate, I believe. You can send us a direct message on Twitter and all. And that should be fine. So I think that just about covers it, to be honest, in terms of enrolment.
yeah, I think that's all good.
Cool. So I'll open the presentation up. So I don't know if you want to have a quick give the guys a quick overview of what we're going to be covering roughly today.
Sure. So this is family e-safety. So we've done a few different e-safety courses and a few different things. So we've kind of covered some other stuff in our other e-safety things. So this one's going to be focused on, if you do have sort of younger people that you're in touch with, but as well as that, it should be kind of general. So there's a lot of general stuff in there as well. So if you've never done any e-safety, or if you're kind of new to using the internet and stuff like that, there should be plenty of things that you can learn from today. So yeah, it's just kind of a general e-safety that's aimed at families. Yeah,
and especially probably a bit more useful now that everyone's at home. So
definitely,
and everyone's on all the devices because there's like nothing else to do. So
absolutely,
this is probably going to help with that. It's definitely going to help with that in some respect.
Yeah.
So I guess we'll jump into it.
Sweet. Okay, so
you're gonna have to guide me, Ella, to which slide you're on.
So we're going to talk about stranger danger first.
Okay.
So what sort of things should you never tell a stranger online? Um, do you think that this is the same as a stranger in real life, or do you think that the rules are a bit different for being online? Um,
Um, it's a funny one because I think basically most of the same rules apply, right? So
I would say
in
so.
terms of what you tell them, I think the only difference with it being in real life is that obviously like the physical danger.
Yeah,
But obviously one can feed into the other, I suppose, because if you get chatting to someone online, and you go to meet them, then you open yourself up to that physical danger, I suppose.
mm. I think a lot of people think that it's kind of like there's a bit of a barrier like
Mm,
online, if you know what I mean. Like you can kind of hide behind the screen a little bit and stuff like that,
yeah.
and that the same rules don't really apply. But I don't think that that's necessarily true. I think it's kind of the same as in real life, really. You've still got to be polite and you've still got to be nice to people and you still have to not tell people all of your sensitive information.
Yeah.
So
And in fact, it's probably easier for them to get a hold of your sensitive information online than it is
definitely,
in person, because in person you're not very likely to divulge that information. But
yeah,
online you might do it accidentally without even realizing.
yeah. You
Um,
might, when you meet somebody in real life, you don't go straight up to them and go, "Hi, I'm Ella. This is my birthday. I was
yeah,
born here and I work here
I live here,
and this
work
is what
here.
I do."
This is my bank. I'm going on holiday on this date. This is what kind of car I have. This is the registration.
Yeah.
Yeah, jeez.
So I think a little bit of thought is sometimes a bit more necessary, especially when websites often ask you for information when you sign up and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So definitely something to think about when you're online. So
Agreed. So is that next slide where we've
yes,
got
please.
be careful of strangers online.
Yes, please. So definitely don't share your details with people that you don't know. It's just like in real life. Never give out your date of birth, your home address, your email address, your phone number, or if you're a young person, your school name, stuff like that. You wouldn't tell a stranger these things, so don't put that information out there online. Um,
Yeah. And again, that's
it's
that's one of them things that you sort of alluded to with like I always use Facebook as the example when I do any of the safety stuff, because
yeah,
it basically asks you a big when you first make your account. It's got like a massive questionnaire about like like you said, what your name is, where you live, your phone number, where you work, your likes, your dislikes. So you're just filling in a profile with a lot
yeah,
of sense. Some of it is sensitive information. Some of it's personal, so it could be used to identify you. Some of it's sensitive and could like pertain to things like your email address and password and that sort of thing.
yeah, definitely. Like a lot of these things, people, you might think, well, it doesn't matter if I tell people this or it doesn't matter if I tell people that.
Yeah,
You got to think as well, like sometimes these things might be used to say recover your passwords as well. Like you get recovery questions like what's your mother's maiden name or
yeah,
what street were you born on and stuff like that. And like I don't know if you've seen, there's been quite a lot of those like Facebook quizzes going around and stuff,
yeah,
or a lot of people are doing them, and sometimes I see them and I'm like, these are kind of interesting questions when you
yeah,
know a little bit about recovery questions and
yeah,
stuff like that. Sometimes they could literally be a list of basically recovery style questions, like what was the name of your first pet, what
yeah.
was the name of your first primary school teacher, stuff like that. It's like
But it's not
just
just
be
that either. It's the add-ons as well, right? So like Facebook will have like a game. Someone will make a game, and they'll
yeah,
they'll tack on a bunch of like when you click, it'll ask for permission to see your profile. When you actually click into it, what it'll say is that it's gonna scan all the public information from your profile, and
yeah,
what it's doing with that is then selling that on to someone else, so that at the very least they'll send you a bunch of annoying emails about buying their product.
yeah,
At the very worst,
yeah.
they'll be trying to get things like your recovery question information, your password, your phone number,
Hmm.
that sort of thing, so that they can try and access certain accounts.
Yeah. So just be really careful about what information that you do put out there and stuff. Another thing that I kind of think as well about this. We're going to talk about photographs a little bit later, but a lot of people, take photos of some of the valuable things that they maybe collect or stuff like that. So if you're sharing things like your hobbies and interests, maybe think about not telling people too much. So I know a lot of people who are musicians, for example, and some people might say, "Oh yeah, I've got 20 guitars in my house," stuff like that,
Yeah.
and then post pictures of them all, and it's
Yeah.
like, well, if you want to get burgled, that's fine,
Hi.
but like, just kind of think about things that you may be putting out there.
What are you doing?
Hello.
We're live now, man. Get out. Come on. Off you go. Right, go on then. Bye. See you later. Why would you... Honestly, what a guy.
What a guy.
I was just reading Andy's comment. So before coronavirus, you had a lot of cold callers offering free advice about switching energy providers and then asking for personal information, including bank details.
Yeah.
So it might not be online. It might be over the phone. Chances are
Definitely.
they've got that number from the likes of Google listings or Facebook listings. So just be careful where your number is. Obviously, in your case, Andy, I'm imagining that's through the is that through Sunday People First, because that might be because the number's public record. In which case you'll have to speak to like whoever provides your phone line to try and help like block that sort of stuff out. I know TalkTalk, if you've got a landline with them, they have quite a good little service for that. I can't remember what it's called now. It's like call screen or something like that. A BT do one as well, don't they? They have caller ID and stuff. So if that's on like a business line, I know if you've got a personal contract with them as well, there are things you can do on. I know specifically a BT one, but I think all the major providers have some kind of. You'd have to speak to them, and it might be a service you have to pay a couple of quid a month for. But if you are like absolutely inundated with spam calls, it is sometimes worth it. I'm sure it's called call screen. I could swear it's called that.
I think that sounds right.
There's also, I will hunt it down because I can't remember what it is, but there's a database where you can get yourself removed from. I can't remember what it's called now.
Oh, I know what you're talking about as well.
Oh God, it's going to annoy us that.
Is this the thing, like, because I think when you change addresses and stuff like that, you can opt to like be on this list and stuff like that?
It's so you can report certain ones to the Information Commissioner's Office, and I can get a link to that. Telephone Preference Service, that's the one. So you can register with the Telephone Preference Service and say basically you get added to a database of numbers not to call, and you should be removed from the bulk of like the nuisance call lines. And if they are calling you still, I think in certain cases it's illegal, depending on what database you registered on and stuff. So worth checking that one out. So that's the Telephone Preference Service.
Very good to know.
I can probably put a link to that in the description of the video at some point.
Definitely
I've got it loaded anyway on a Google Chrome tab in the background, so don't worry about that. I'll sort that out.
Great.
So yeah, that's maybe he's wanting to check out then, Andy.
Yeah, sounds like it.
That was a tangent. Sorry, don't know where we were up to before that.
Where were we? Okay, so if you do have young people that you're close with and stuff like that, like either your children or your grandchildren or something like that, neighbours, anything that you're kind of aware of, make sure that they know that they shouldn't be telling people this kind of information, and that they know kind of what to do about it if it happens. So there are sadly people who will try and speak to young people about things, and perhaps try and get information from them. So make sure that they know not to share important information about themselves with people that they don't know, or just generally put that out online and stuff. So if somebody is asking either you or a young person for that kind of information, just make sure that to tell somebody about it, and that they can, or you can, report it to whatever website it is that they're using, or app, or game, or whatever it is. So it's really important that you do that as well. So
Yeah.
yes.
I do keep muting my mic in and out because we're getting the kitchen fitted at the minute and there's a bit of noise in the background. So if you hear a really straining, weird sound, it's just someone fixing something to the wall, I believe, with a drill, or cutting something with a saw, by the sounds of it. Anyway, just to sort of echo what Fraser was saying when he was on the Staying Connected, not last week but the week before, this sort of goes hand in hand with, you can, as long as you're taking evidence, so you're reporting it to the service that it is. So if it's a game, if it's on, like, say, one of the console platforms like Xbox Live or PlayStation Network, you're reporting, say it's a harassing message or whatever, you're reporting it to them, but you're also taking a screenshot or a picture and saving it on your phone or computer or tablet, and you can submit a police complaint, well, like a report basically, to the police. And what they can do is they can look into it, because sometimes what you'll find is people have an account online that doesn't really identify them, so they'll try and be like anonymous on things like Twitter and PlayStation Network or Xbox Live. What they can do is track their IP address, so they can find out basically roughly where they live, or who pays the bill for that internet connection, which will then obviously identify who they are, or someone in their household is doing it. So it might be someone who's trying to appear to be like anonymous, but nobody is anonymous online.
No.
So if it is someone giving you, harassment or grief, they can be tracked basically. Just as you need to do all you can to report them, otherwise no one's going to find out who they are.
Yeah. And I would imagine that a lot of people that are doing this aren't just doing this to one person as well.
Oh, so. No. A lot of the time, you'll especially, I reference Twitter. Twitter is a garbage fire sometimes for this sort of thing. You'll see accounts and you'll click on the profile and it's just tweet like everyone with just a bunch of abuse constantly. And they're worth reporting because they will get dealt with. Facebook's got a lot better in the last couple of years as well.
Yeah, it has.
It used to be really bad. It's
come under fire a lot, hasn't it?
Well, yeah,
really?
Because they've been absolutely, and rightly so, they've had the book thrown at them a few times from a few different angles, but specifically on the reporting and moderation system. So they've got like teams and teams of people that they subcontract to now, moderating things like videos and photos. So they're being dealt with by an actual person now, rather than an
artificial
algorithm.
Intelligence.
The algorithm still does most of the work, but there is community moderators now who are paid to do moderation of like videos and offensive content. And stuff. So Andy's saying primary and secondary schools across Sunderland have developed some amazing resources about keeping safe online, which can be seen on the SCC anti-bullying website. Andy, if you can get us a link to that, mate, I'll stick that in the description as well, please.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Wouldn't mind including that one and all.
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okie doke. Yeah, so that was the where did we get up to on that slide? So that was just about reporting it, wasn't it?
Yeah.
So the next one is passwords. Are we up to that?
Yes,
Yeah,
passwords.
Yeah, cool.
Okay, so this might sound obvious, but never tell anyone your password. I think we hear a lot, particularly about young people who like maybe share accounts on games and stuff like that, or stuff like that. Because a lot of people use the same password for everything, or variations of the same password. Once you get kind of one incarnation of it, it's kind of easier to guess what the rest of them could be. Maybe people add a different number, or add a exclamation mark, or like a special character, or something else, or just generally have the same password for everything. It's not a good idea, because like I said, once somebody knows one of them, they could get into all of them. So it's really important that you choose strong passwords in the first place, and that you change them quite regularly if you can. So a good way to make sure that you've got a strong password is having a mixture of numbers, letters, upper and lowercase, and special characters. And if you can put them in like a sort of weird order, that's better.
Yeah.
Like, don't have like sequences, nothing like 1, 2, 3 or ABC, or even just the word password.
Never
Yeah,
QWERTY. A lot of people used to do QWERTY because it's just the row of letters on your keyboard. That was a common one. What's the other one? Changing regular. Yeah, so when you go on a website now, when you set a password and that, you'll probably get prompted to do all. Like, it actually probably won't let you progress past it unless you do this, and it'll be kicking off for you. And it'll be like, right, we need a capital letter and an uppercase and a special character and a number and like an underscore and like your left finger and like your dog and everything. It's worth it because basically the harder the more obscure your password is, the harder it is for someone to guess, and it's not always someone guessing. So if you've got like a website, like a WordPress website, for example, there's certain people who've made programs to try and hack your password. So what it'll do is it'll just spam over and over things that it thinks relate to like your website name. So it'll start, like, say it's Media Savvy, it'll start with Media Savvy, and then like it'll try all the different capitals, and basically it's a bot that just constantly tries to type a password in relating to your website, and it'll try and hack it over and over again. So if you make your password hard to guess, little programs like that won't be able to function on your website. Similar ones exist for Facebook, I believe, but they're not quite as widespread.
Yeah. But that's what I was saying about the sequence thing for, and kind of making them as irregular as possible. Because, if you've got Media Savvy as your password or whatever, then it's really easy to guess that the E is after the M. If you've got a different character afterwards, that's harder to guess because it's unexpected, stuff like that. So the more odd characters that you can put in there, the better.
Yeah. And it's a trade-off as well, so you need to be able to remember it. So just be careful that you don't make it too obscure and you can't remember what it is. That's the classic trick. Of then you have to reset it. And you have to put your phone. What is quite good with your passwords is a lot of websites do two-factor authentication, which means that when you sign in, you can't sign in with one thing alone. So you can't just use your password to sign in, and you can't just use, say, your mobile number to sign in. So on my Outlook email, when I sign in with my password, I type my email address in, I type my password in, I press enter, it then prompts me and it'll send us a text on my phone, and I'll get a code, and I have to type that code into the computer. So I've had to use two ways of logging in. So I've used my password and the code that they've sent me out, which is quite good. Because obviously only you should have your password and your phone at any one time, hopefully.
Yeah, definitely.
That's the plan.
So it is more secure doing things like that. A lot of, I think my bank started to do this thing where it says, is this a trusted device and stuff now?
Yeah.
So, it kind of prompts you that if you're not in like your own home, or if you're not using your own phone, if you're using a shared computer or something like that, it prompts you with some of the security steps to do and reminds you to log out, and definitely does two-factor and stuff like that. Does
yours automatically log you out? Your bank?
Yes,
mine
it does. Yeah.
If I think it's like after a minute of inactivity, it just automatically logs us out of my account.
Yeah.
I think as well, if anyone's got a modern smartphone, you can use like your biometric security, which all that means is you're using a part of your body, which sounds weird when I say it out loud. So your face, so you can do a face scan on your phone to unlock it. You've got Face ID. That can be used as your password, because obviously only you should really have your face, and it's quite hard to fake. As well as your thumbprint, so that's another one. So obviously your thumbprint's unique, or should be. So you can log in with that as well, which is handy.
Yes, it is.
Tease. Okay. So you've got your passwords are good and bad, and what's what.
Okay, so we've got a little kind of quiz thing. Which passwords do you think are good, and which ones do you think are bad? So there's kind of different versions of a few different ones on here. And I think like an easy way to add special characters and stuff into your passwords is choosing a phrase or a word or something that you like already, and then seeing if some of the things kind of resemble other characters. Especially if if you've had like really weak passwords in the past, and you've suddenly upped it to like loads of special characters and stuff, it is easier to remember having something like, say, a 3 instead of an E or stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I think it should be pretty obvious which ones are good here.
I'll show the answers. So they're the first ones are the bad ones, right? There's 2 highlighted here, and it's the Sunderland and the password one.
Yeah, so they're kind of like in the middle, but still kind of bad.
Right. Okay. Get you.
Because they're not great.
Yeah. Well, obviously password.
They're not as bad as some of the others.
Password lowercase is the worst one.
Yeah.
And then the ones I take it that are like not highlighted but not black are the good ones. Yeah. With all the different special characters and stuff in them. So like
the green ones are all.
So it's like you were saying there. You've got your 3 instead of an E in the Sunderland 1973 one, and then you've got the at instead of an A. It's got a capital at the start. It's got a bunch of numbers in as well. So even if someone knew your password was Sunderland 1973, they might not necessarily be able to get the special characters in the right order. So yeah, that's cool.
But be really careful about these things because, if you are, say, a massive Sunderland fan or something like that, I bet a lot of people's password is Sunderland 1973.
Yeah, or Sunderland till I die.
Something,
probably now.
Something like that. So just be really careful, if you are putting that information out there on your social media profiles, or if you're an account dedicated to Sunderland AFC.
Yeah, a fan account.
Maybe don't have a Sunderland related password.
Yeah.
Because,
possibly not. No. 2 seconds. There was just something falling off the desk, sorry.
Oh.
I could just see an absolute disaster happening off camera there, and it was going to be
oh no.
Yeah, so just being careful with your password, that it can't be guessed. Basically, it'll be the way forward with that. Yeah, so that's password. So just the next slide is about the remember feature.
Yes. So.
Hey, Web. Web's just tuned in by the looks of it.
Hi, Web. So. Does everybody make sure that they don't remember their password on shared devices? It's really important that you don't have the save password feature on there. If you're at the library or you're at your friend's house or something like that.
One of our media savvy sessions as well.
Definitely. Don't save your password because anybody who uses that computer, if they know your username or your email address, it means that they can just get straight into your account.
Yeah.
So just be really, really careful with stuff like that.
There's also
if you're using
it's not always so you've put that image on there, haven't you? That's like the keychain one. There's also like on certain websites there's a little box that says remember me. I think Facebook and Google Mail, like Gmail, both do the same thing. And what that means is sometimes it won't remember your password, but what it will do is remember your login. So like your picture and your email address will come up on there, which you don't want that either. So if you're on a shared computer, try not to tick the remember me box.
Mm-hmm. Or sometimes it's automatically ticked.
Yeah,
I think.
Yeah. Sometimes
so
it's ticked by
make sure
default,
when you check. So make sure it's definitely not ticked if you're on a shared computer.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just remember to always log out as well. So, if you are using a media savvy laptop and you're signed into your Facebook, just make sure you log out.
Yeah. And I think on Chrome you can go to the settings. Let me just double check. I'm just going to double check this now. And I think if you go to settings and you type in passwords, it'll tell you what passwords are saved.
Yeah, I was just going to say that before.
Yeah.
So, it's very easy for somebody else to be able to access that information.
I'll tell you what. Let me just. I'll change the view here, and I'll just show you guys on my Google Chrome. If I take that PDF off for a second. So obviously you go to your normal Google page. I will have to scoot that down a little bit. So over here you've got the 3 dots at the top right there. If you go down to settings here, it'll take you to Google Chrome settings page. and then if you type in the search bit there, if you type in passwords or password, it comes up with a autofill in the autofill section, password, and you click on here, and then this is it's going to show all the, so obviously there's the passwords that I've got saved on this computer, but then there's also a bit where it's popped up and asked as if I want to save the password, and I've said never. So I've told it to never save passwords from Amazon, ExpressVPN, Google, Mail, Instagram, and all the rest of these ones. I don't want it to save me password on that. Some of these I have, just because I access them all the time, and this is like my work computer, so I have the login for this one, so this is already password protected. So on your computer, if you own it and you've got a password on it and it never leaves the house, for example, or very rarely, but it's always in your possession, you should be all right to keep yourself logged into certain things. What you really want to be careful of is doing it on shared computers. So like Ella was saying, things like libraries, your friend's computer, anywhere where someone else has access to that computer, and just because you know someone quite well, I still wouldn't be risking leaving yourself logged into all your different things, because you don't know who else might access that computer at any given time either. That's the thing. It's not worth the risk, really.
No, definitely not.
Yeah, I know that the common one was people used to go to the Apple store and sign into like the Facebook, and then log back into the Facebook like 2 days later, and they had like 1,000 friend requests and loads of game stuff they'd been signed up to, and like the 10 different quizzes about what like potato they are and stuff, and it was like
like photos of the Apple staff.
Just like completely like riddled their account with just random garbage. So yeah, be careful where you get yourself logged in.
Yes.
Okay. And so when using a shared computer, always log out, never save your password. So that's the golden rules of using shared computers there. So the next bit is about speaking. Have you ever spoken to someone online that you've never met in real life?
Any contributions from the chat there are welcome.
I was just double checking. So it's just Wibs just saying, how are you guys? Yeah, we're fine, mate. How are you? And Andy was saying, MenCap's Safe Serving project aims to support people with a learning disability to know what personal information they should share online, how to protect their personal data and surf the web safely. So that's the Safe Surfing project. Let me just copy that. I'm going to have a quick look at that. If you want to go into this bit now, Ella, I'll have a quick look into that.
Yeah, sure. So speaking to somebody online that you've never met in real life. So has anyone done that? I have, just from playing like online games and stuff before. So I don't know if anyone remembers the days of RuneScape or if anyone's still playing, but that kind of thing, multiplayer online games are the kind of places where you might speak to somebody online that you've never met in real life. I would say that isn't so bad as, say, adding somebody on Facebook or something like that you've never met in real life. Just because I think the whole idea of Facebook is that it's for connecting with people, particularly like, family and friends and stuff like that. I wouldn't say that it's the place to, I certainly wouldn't add somebody that I'd never met in real life on Facebook. But I think that there's a lot of places online that you do interact with other people, say online forums or on YouTube, in the comments section, things like that. And that's okay, because as long as you're not sort of sharing personal information with them and you're just generally having a discussion, I would say that there's not really a problem with that. It's just when it starts to get to the point where you're sharing information, that is where the problems kind of start.
Yeah. So I mean, you mentioned it there, like when you're online in a game and stuff, you're possibly going to have a screen name or username. Equally, like I was saying, if anyone in the house is using things like Xbox Live, PlayStation Network, or Steam, which would be the PC version, to play games specifically, you'll have a name on there, like a username. It's probably worth making that username nothing to do with your real name in real life. You get to control basically how much public information you put on things like that.
Yeah.
So Facebook is very, very linked to you as a person, if that makes sense. So obviously you've got identifiable information, name, date of birth, where you live, where you work, that sort of thing. You can control that to a certain degree, but at the very least, you're probably going to have your full name on there and a picture that identifies you. Whereas your other online services like gaming and different message boards and YouTube accounts, you can have it to a point where your picture doesn't identify you in real life and your name doesn't identify you in real life, which is fine.
Yeah.
And it's just moderating keeping an eye on what information you share on those platforms.
Yeah.
Especially, I think this is the one like younger people will fall foul of on things like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network, where they'll just put like their life story on it. Which is great because the mates can see it and that, but a lot of the time your profile on there is open to anyone you're in a game with. So if you go into an online game with 100 other people in it, all those people you appear in that account that you're signed into appears in a list on their recent players. So they've recently played that game with you. Your information's on there to up to however many people are in the game or however many people you've bumped into online. So it's just it's worth, if you've got accounts like that, having a check on what's on there, having a check on what's on public. There's a bunch of like FAQs on the PlayStation and like Microsoft or Xbox website about how to change your account privacy settings. You can have like a parental control on it. Most of it can be done from the console as well, so you can log into the console and have a look at the account settings on there. Same with Facebook, to be fair. Your privacy settings, there's a privacy dashboard now, isn't there?
There is.
So it's worth reviewing them basically just to see what's on there, because it's quite scary sometimes. You don't quite realise what information you're just giving away for free.
Yeah, definitely.
So yeah, just have a little check would be my recommendation. So this one is about meeting people though, specifically, isn't it? So obviously you've got young people should never add people they don't know in real life, which you sort of talked about, and never tell them information about yourself. So never meet up with someone you've met online that you don't know. I think that's some sound advice for anyone, to be honest. I don't think that. I think that's irrespective of age, to be honest. If you don't know and trust someone, probably not a good idea to just go meet them randomly, sort of out of context on your own as well. I think that's one of the worrying signs. If someone's asking you to do that, go meet them on their own, in like a non-public space. That's definitely in a dark alley. That's definitely like a red flag for me.
But I think sometimes people just have that kind of barrier of the screen in between them, and you just sort of you don't think about it in the same way anymore. So it is just really important to kind of think like, is this a bit weird? Is this potentially dangerous?
I don't know if anyone's it can be potentially dangerous, it can be weird, it can be scary, but I don't know if anyone's seen the movie Catfish, not the TV show, because the TV show is a car crash.
I've seen the movie,
but the actual movie is like really, really like weird. So
it is.
He talks to that woman online, doesn't he? And he thinks it's her daughter, isn't it? She's been putting pictures of her daughter up.
I thought it was just like a random person.
Oh, is it just a random woman? So she's basically posing.
It's a specific person. I can't remember who it is, but it's not her, basically.
It's worth checking out anyway.
It's like an online dating kind of thing.
But like, she's posing as someone else, and then he goes to meet her, and he's absolutely like shocked because he thinks he's been talking to someone completely different, and it's actually been her the whole time, and it's just really weird and creepy, to be honest. It's definitely worth checking out on the subject of like online dating and meeting up with like strangers from the internet. It's a real eye opener into how people can portray themselves online versus how they are in real life.
I think there's just a little thing about online dating. If you are, online dating and stuff like that, you do obviously, your first interactions are online and stuff like that, but definitely, have video calls, phone calls, all of that stuff before meeting up in person. and maybe ask somebody else to go with you. Make sure, you know, if you're going to meet somebody, that it's in a busy place,
public and well lit place is what I would say.
In the daytime, you know, like if somebody says, you know, no, I don't want to have any video calls with you, I don't want to have any phone calls, don't bring anyone with you, and I'll meet you in this parking lot at like 3 a.m.
Yeah. Big no.
Maybe don't go.
It's a massive no from me. That's how you lose like a kidney, I think.
Yeah.
It's definitely one to be wary of online dating, but, for sure.
You know, if you sort of taking gradual steps and stuff like that, and you know, you've had plenty of video calls with somebody, you've had phone calls with them, and you meet up with somebody, and you maybe, I don't know, take your best friend with you and stuff like that. That's more the way to do it, I would say, if you are considering that sort of thing. But yes, generally, don't meet up with people that you don't know online.
For sure. Make sure young people know if someone you've met online wants to meet up with you in real life, tell an adult immediately. So that's something to bear in mind, like I was saying, for like younger people who've got access to different services. Making sure they are aware of that is quite important, I think. Yeah.
Particularly, you know, young people, you know, who shouldn't be online dating.
Or vulnerable people. You get, because you do get a lot of people like that targeted, who might not know any better. I know certain scams are targeted towards older people who aren't as good with technology. So that's the other issue as well.
Definitely.
There was a lot of the sort of, I think they dubbed them like romance scams, where they were targeting older, more vulnerable people who are like lonely, and getting them to send them money in exchange for like the company and stuff, which was just like really like perverse. So I just keep an eye on you know, maybe people who aren't very tech savvy as well. And explain to them, you know, that this person isn't genuine and they're just trying to sort of extract money from you on the internet. That's the flip side of it as well. Unfortunately.
It is.
So obviously we've got there in as plain terms as we can. So I'd say as adults, basically anyone can report them to the website, app or game, and report them to the police as well. It's definitely the way to go if you're suspicious at all. Of someone trying to fleece someone out of some money, get them reported, or trying to, you know, meet up with them or influence them in any way. Sometimes you get that as well. It's not even about money or meeting them up. They're trying to get them to do certain things. So just keep an eye out basically, and make sure your settings are all set to as private as you want them to be, and share as little information as you possibly can. That can identify you as a person or anyone in your household. I would say
definitely.
So next up we've got photographs. So I'll skip to the first slide. Go on. So
be really careful about what photos that you put on social media or send to people. So photos can make people think things about you that might not be true, might be seen negatively. You know, if you're looking for a job or something like that, and you've got loads of pictures of you passed out after a night out on your Facebook, I mean, that's fine if you want to put them on there, but maybe don't make them public if you are looking for a job or something like that. Another thing to consider are things like nudes and stuff. Like, be really careful about who you send those to. I think that's especially important for young people as well, or more vulnerable people. You know, if somebody's asking you for those kind of photos and you're not sure about it, just be really, really careful. Once you've taken them and sent them, it's really hard to control where they might end up, if you know what I mean. So if you've sent it to one person, even if you've deleted it, they'll have a copy, or they might have sent it to somebody else who might have saved it. So even if you don't know who that person might have sent it to, or where they might have got anything like that. So
Ella, your audio's just dropped out a little bit there.
Is everything okay?
Yeah, it's just the audio dropped out a little bit. I think everyone got most of what you said. So it was just basically saying, just a quick recap, because I don't know what got cut off and what didn't. So you were saying that if you send these type of images, obviously you can't delete them once you've sent them. Basically, someone's possibly taken a screenshot, someone's possibly shared it or forwarded it to someone else. It's very difficult to get rid of them once they're out there. I think you could pretty much ask any like A-list celebrity that's had their iCloud hacked. These photos don't go away. I know, was it Jennifer Lawrence had a real bad time with them, I think. She tried to get them, she tried to take out like a court order and stuff. And a few of the major websites have now started, like they have a sort of algorithm scanning like Messenger and stuff. To see if these images are being shared, because obviously they have a detection software that can pick out an image, because they scan every pixel of it basically, and they know they get a match. So if they see someone forwarding that, you'll get a message warning you, saying that if you continue to share content of this nature, you'll be blocked from using Messenger basically. They started doing that quite recently, I think. Again, to stop the spread of it, but obviously there's all sorts of ways to send an image, so you can send it as a text, an email, whatever. So once it's out there, very, very hard to get it back, so just be careful with images of that nature. I think people fall down with this on Snapchat. I've heard some horror stories about Snapchat as well, because they are the disappearing messages, but they don't ever nothing fully disappears on the internet, and if you think otherwise, you're going to have a rough time. They can exist on someone's device. If they take a screenshot or a screen recording, they'll exist on the server, they'll exist in your account somewhere as well. It's the same with, like, if you've got any cloud storage, your photos or videos might back up to the cloud automatically. That can be compromised at times and all. So just be very careful with what you do with any kind of, it doesn't necessarily have to be like photos of this nature. It could be anything, if you've got any sensitive information on there, like things like bank details, addresses, dates of birth, anything like that could be compromised, if you are putting them out there openly.
Definitely.
Once you've made it public, it's not yours anymore. Yeah, that's pretty much how I'd sum it up. So again, I think you've reiterated the point on the presentation. Obviously, if someone's asking a younger or vulnerable person to take these kind of photos, report it immediately, basically. Again, take evidence, so that there's a log, the chat log on, like, say it's on a Facebook account, and if someone's been trying to like get these pictures sent to them by a child or a vulnerable person, that log of the chat will exist, which is good. So everything that's online stays online. Facebook will have a record of that conversation, and even if that person deletes it, takes their SIM card out of their phone and snaps it, Facebook's server still has a record of that that conversation. Even if they delete their account, that conversation or that time will be logged somewhere. So you'd make the complaint to Facebook, and the police and stuff will get involved to request that information. So it's always traceable, basically. So I wouldn't give up, even if the person deletes their account or blocks you or whatever. I would still be taking a record and doing everything you can to get hold of that information.
Yeah, definitely. I think as well it's important to take screenshots or take evidence wherever you can. You know, say if somebody does have, say if you have sent a photo or something that you're not comfortable with people seeing, and somebody's put it on a website somewhere, it's a good idea to take a screenshot of where you've seen it, what time it was, all of that stuff, so that it is sort of trackable and traceable, if you know what I mean. So it might be difficult, but it'll be helpful to get rid of the image or to stop players doing that. So
cool. Yeah, definitely
important to take evidence.
Always, and just drop it in a folder of ongoing stuff, especially if it's an ongoing thing as well. Just keep documenting it, basically. So your next bit is about important information about if someone sends you something like that.
Yeah. So make sure that you're also not sharing images that you think other people maybe wouldn't want you to see or something like that. We've heard some kind of quite difficult stories of younger people, particularly, who've had, images that they've kind of made on, I don't like, editing software. So they've maybe taken, like, I don't know, a nude of somebody and a picture of their friend and photoshopped their friend's face onto this nude and then shared it because they think it's a joke or they think it's, that it's just a bit thrown and stuff, but it's not. It can be really, really serious.
Yeah.
Because it does, it is really upsetting for the person that is in the photo, but it can get you into a lot of trouble because it's basically making indecent images then.
Yeah.
And
if they're underage as well, right, that's when it becomes
exactly.
like, and even it's already an offence. Like, it's already an offence to do that. But if the person's underage, that the police will treat it as such. So it'll be making indecent images of a child, and then you're in possession of them as well. And even if you are, I think there's been cases in the past, right, where they've been obviously underage themselves, but they have been charged with that offence of making indecent images of a child, even though they're, say, like 14 or 15 or whatever. That's on their record forever now.
Yeah.
Because they made a daft picture on Photoshop.
I think you can end up being put on the sex offenders register for an offence like that as well. So that's not something that's, easy to get rid of, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. Well, no, definitely not.
On your record, and so it's
one of them things, isn't it, where like it'll look really bad, even though if you drill down into what you actually did, you made a daft picture of your mate or whatever, or someone at school or something like that. But that's a stain on your record forever, because not everyone's going to have the context of what happened either.
Definitely.
You don't want that hanging over your head for the rest of your life. Definitely not.
Absolutely not. Having just a record like that it makes it incredibly difficult to get jobs in the future and all sorts of stuff. So just be really, really careful and think about what the consequences might be before doing something like that, or just passing on images that you think, like, if this was me, would I really want this to happen? If you know that it's just somebody being malicious, don't add to those problems.
Don't join in, basically.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what it says there. Don't share it. And I did mention, you can get warnings and stuff from the likes of Facebook now, where they're on the lookout for content that they've been made aware of by sometimes the police, sometimes like someone making a complaint, to say that people are sharing a certain photo or video on their site, and if they see it, they will give you a warning that you shouldn't be sharing it. As well as telling you how you can report it and so on. So yeah, I mean, it's sort of common sense, really. Once you know what the impact can be, I think you need to be really careful with stuff like this. Like I say, you don't want that on your record. At the very least, you might get your account suspended or banned. At the very worst, you could end up with some kind of police action.
Yeah.
So it can vary depending on the circumstances. So just be careful with it, really. Apply a bit of common sense, like Ella says. Would you like it if the roles were reversed and it was an image of you being shared around? I'm guessing probably not.
Yeah.
And I think on the bottom there it just says again, so obviously if a young person tells you about this, it's very important that you report it again. So the website, the game, the app, and the police. They will take it seriously, especially more and more. I think cybercrime and this sort of thing is becoming a massive. They've had like a massive drive towards it in recent years, because they've sort of figured out that a lot of abuse goes on online. So it's something that they want to tackle. So that brings us on to social media and location.
Yes. So, how old do you think it need to have a social media account?
I mean, feel free to share how old you guys think in the chat, but I believe it's 13 off the top of my head.
It is 13.
Aha. It's almost like
Yeah,
I had
you
this
do have to
presentation
be
ahead of time, innit?
Did you?
Yeah, somehow. I met this magic, that, innit?
Yeah, so you've got to be.
Oh,
Yeah, it's amazing, And that was me just thinking that you were like,
of genius. No.
really up on your e-safety. But yes, so 13 is the minimum age for most
Okay, hang on. Have we lost Ella?
social
Oh. 2 seconds, guys. I think
media
Ella's
sites.
Wi-Fi has just dropped out a little bit. Give it a minute or two. I think you're back. Hello?
Oh no.
Yeah, you're back. You're back. It
Hello?
just dropped out. So yeah, I got 13 is the minimum age, and then we lost you.
Do you think that that's do you think that's the right sort of age, or do you think that's too young?
I
What do you
think
think?
I'm surprised that there isn't a sort of watered down version of Facebook that they're allowing younger people to use, similar to like YouTube Kids, just because with like far less content on it, and far fewer ways to like have personal information on there, like a kid's social network. Basically, I'm surprised there isn't some kind of Facebook like driven policy for that. Mainly because the problem with sites and having age restrictions on is you can just lie. Like, I could go on there as an 8-year-old and just change my date of birth to the right year, and then as long as I've got an email address and a password, I can sign up and make an account.
Yeah.
I'm surprised they haven't put some kind of initiative in place for like a kid's Facebook, or maybe it's not call it Facebook, but like some kind of kid's social media, where like I say, everything's really locked down and the content's heavily moderated. And the interaction and like personal information is very limited. I'm very surprised, but I think increasingly parents and stuff are becoming more and more aware that maybe Facebook isn't the greatest place for the kid to be, and especially when you've got all sorts of scams and God knows who else on there. So that was a long-winded way of saying I don't think 13's old enough.
I don't think it's old enough really either.
It's you're opening, even from a company point of view, even looking at it from a selfish Facebook point of view, you're opening yourself up to a lot of trouble when you have, because like I say, there's already stuff that on there that could have police action taken against it, and you're adding a whole other category onto it when you've got people who are underage, in terms of protecting their welfare and their rights, and making sure there's no abuse and grooming and all that sort of stuff going on online. So it's a bit of a weird stance from them, but I don't know. They seem to think they've got the reporting procedures down. I disagree.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think in terms of the
I think
age
it's
and
too
stuff.
young. I think it's too young, and I don't think that the restrictions are tight enough to have people of that age on social media platforms. I think it's really easy to find adult content. I think that if you're a 13-year-old as well, you wouldn't want to put those restrictions on. Like, why would you do that yourself, if you know what I mean? You would just immediately sort of think, no, I'm not. I don't need restrictions on. I don't need.
I'm a grown up. I'm a big boy or a big girl, and I'm fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's the one. That's my main issue with it. I think if, like, I keep mentioning things like your gaming console account on Microsoft, you can set up a family where there's like a parent and they set up an account for the child, and they have full control over that. I'm very surprised things like Facebook and Twitter don't have a similar like setup in terms of there being an overall control on that account. I think
that would be useful.
Yeah, it's a really neglected aspect of like social media, is that there's little to no like control over what your kids can access. Like, obviously, like you say, there's no way on earth that the kids are going to put on the filters, because they don't want to filter it out. They want to see everything, and of course they do. The kids are just curious, but there's stuff on there that they definitely shouldn't be seeing, and there's people on there that they definitely shouldn't be interacting with. So it's just about having those sort of frank discussions with them, I suppose.
I think so.
And again, I think it goes the other way. So people who are vulnerable or maybe don't understand the platform, as well, making sure that their account's set up in a way that they're not getting unsolicited messages or falling into traps about people asking for money, or clicking on dodgy links that'll try and save passwords on the computer and that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, let's skip through that because time's ticking on. So next you've got some social media tips. So if you want to quickly go through them.
Yeah, so only add people that you know in real life. I think that's especially important on Facebook. Other things, maybe not so much, maybe. But especially if you're a young person or something like that, it's a good idea to just keep it to people that you know in real life. Make sure that your privacy settings are high. That means that your information's private to you or your friends. So I think if you've got a Facebook account and you've got all of your information that you use to sign up, I think it's really important that you try and limit what information actually is actually visible, particularly to the public as well. There's settings on Facebook that you can go through that mean that you can choose whether it's just you or just your friends of friends, or is publicly available. So I think most of the time things like your cover photo, like your current cover photo and your current profile picture are public, but everything else you can choose whether you want to make those private just to you or just to your friends, etc. So maybe things like the year you were born you might want to keep as more private, something like that, or you maybe don't want your phone number to be publicly available, things like that. So just be really careful about what privacy settings that you do have and what's publicly available, and just keep checking what the settings are on that site or that app or whatever, what you can choose to make private if you want to. Just remember that you don't have to have all of your information out there. Like I can remember when I was doing some of the sessions at Salvation Army and stuff, like there was a guy there, John, who wanted to use Facebook just because he wanted to connect with his nephew and he wanted to join a few groups. I think he was interested in gardening and pictures of old Sunderland, but he knew that he didn't want to have a picture of him on there. He didn't want to add anybody else. He didn't want to have any of his personal information on there, and it is possible to do that. So you can really pick and choose what information you choose to have on there. So we made sure that his profile was like really well locked down and stuff, and that he was comfortable with the amount of information that people could find out about him. So just remember that you can do that. So yes, definitely check through your privacy settings and stuff.
I think your location ones as well is the one that scares me the most. Is the location one, and what apps are tracking you. What's quite nice about having a modern smartphone is you've got quite a bit of control over, say if it's Facebook and you don't want to be tracked on Facebook, you can go into the settings on your phone rather than settings on your Facebook account and tell your phone that when you're using the Facebook app, it's not allowed to access your location. So no matter what it tries to do in the app, your phone's overridden it to say no, you can't have my location.
Instagram's the same. Like if you post a photo on Instagram and you've got your location on and stuff and you allow it might come up underneath like where you are. So if you, I don't know, say if you've gone for your 1 hour exercise and you've had a walk on the beach, it might, and you take a photo, it might, when you upload it, it might say Seaburn, Sunderland, and it might literally pinpoint where you are at that time.
Same with
so
your
if
house.
Somebody wanted to find out where you were. Yeah.
That, like, if you take a photo at home, you know what Lisa's like. She loves out like gardening and that. She's built a daft little wall, and then she's took a picture of it and uploaded it to Instagram. If she's got the location on, it's tagged the location. It's tagged her house on the map, and then someone could then see where you live. It could be you take a picture of your car when you've just washed it. I've seen about 100 people doing that, like walking on the car, like getting all the angles and I'm like, oh man. taking pride in it and that. So
wow.
but that's putting out a pin on a map, very, very, if not exactly where you are, very, very close to where you live. Not the smartest idea, to be honest, especially if it's public. If it's on friends only and you've only got people you know, great. If it's on public, not so great. That is like the issue of come and get me, come and steal me car, or me lawnmower, or like, you know, all the like all me fancy electronics that I've got kicking about as well.
I think as well, like I was thinking about particularly like young people and stuff, you know, unfortunately there are
No, hang on, you've turned into a robot again, Ella. 2 seconds.
people in the world.
Are you back?
I keep saying my connection's unstable.
Yeah, I think
I don't know what to do.
You keep turning it. It sounds like you're having like a really bad auto tune, like every now and then.
Yours keeps doing it for me, but it must just be my fault. So
I think it's on your end that I don't think that's coming through to you. You're back anyway. You're back.
I think Scott.
Oh dear.
The door downstairs, and I think that might have changed things.
Scott, man, right?
So.
It's fine. Don't worry about it. You're back. So yeah, you were just saying.
Anyway, so maybe if you know, there's quite a lot of young people who use Instagram and use it regularly. If you post 3 posts within 2 hours of each other, and each one of them have got your location on it, that's very easy for somebody to track your movements and find out where you're going, what direction you're heading in, stuff like that. It sounds really scary, but there are some horrible people in the world, so just be really, really careful about your location settings. And
you've also got just quickly as well, that's the Snapchat map. So if you've got Snapchat, there's a map feature on it where you can have your live location be broadcast as it's going out. I still don't really know what the upside of that is. I've got mine turned off because I don't really want anyone to know where I am, especially not in real time. It updates as you move around as well, which I find really weird. So it's like having a GPS tracker on you at any given moment. Turn that off if you.
There's only 2 benefits.
Go on.
I can only think of 2 benefits to having like location things.
Yeah.
One of them is if you lose your phone.
Yeah.
It can be useful. You know, if somebody steals it, something like that. The other thing is, I know that I worked with a carers group recently, and some of them have got like location things on people's phones, particularly who might have things like dementia or Alzheimer's, who tend to wander off
and not know why they've wandered off or where they are.
Yeah, so that's kind of another use for location settings that might be actually beneficial to know where somebody is at all times, you know, if they are vulnerable and likely to do things like that.
Yeah, I think that's things like Find My iPhone are quite good for that. I know there's one on Android, I can't remember what it's called. There is an app though that you sign into basically. They're really useful. What you want to be wary of is broadcasting that information publicly on things like LSAs like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, and any of the apps that it pops up and says allow to use location services, unless it's a maps or like a navigation program or like a Find My Phone sort of deal. I'd be saying no. Basically, no, absolutely not. It's quite a valuable commodity in terms of selling you things as well. So sometimes companies, Google are pretty bad for this at times as well, trying to sell you stuff based on where you go. So they know, okay, well you visit this certain place, we can then feed you information from shops in that local area. So it can be dangerous, and it can also be annoying because you'll get a lot of targeted adverts as well. So like I say, at the very least, on the very mild side of the spectrum, you get a lot of adverts based on your location. On the very dangerous side of it, you're checking in at loads of different places, tagging it. People know where you are, sometimes in real time. So as you're there, they know that you're there, which from a stalking or like abuse point of view, very, very bad. Would definitely avoid. Definitely worth looking at your location services. Definitely worth looking at reporting and blocking things that upset you. Obviously,
Definitely.
your privacy settings you've got on there. Privacy. I don't know why I keep saying privacy. This means your information is private to you or your friends. So obviously you covered that a little bit, didn't you, Ella?
Yeah.
These are all things that it doesn't really take that long to set them up, does it?
No, no, it really doesn't. But
Oh dear, we've got like a zombie. I think he's going to make us a cuppa. I don't know. He's like a mummy, but he's wearing shorts. So there you go. Mummy. Yeah. Okay. Cool. So to have a look at your privacy settings, I guess this is session 1. Are we going to be doing any more stuff on privacy and that sort of thing, or do you not know yet?
I don't know.
Okay. Because we can. I know we've
but
got.
if it's something that's,
Go on.
I was gonna say, if it's something that people do want to find out more about, then we can do something and kind of go through those kind of settings with people and look at like Facebook or Instagram and stuff like that.
I think even if it's something people want to do more in their own time, we can put some resources out there for you guys to engage with, and we'll fire them over to some people first to make sure they're they can get them in an easy read format as well. I know they've got a bunch of stuff on this as well, so it might be good to get some advice from them.
Yeah, definitely.
And like I say, just let us know in the likes of the survey. Would be a great place to put it if you're struggling for resources for the kids at home, or yourself, or a family member, or a friend, and you want some step-by-step instructions on how to change your Facebook privacy, for example. Let us know.
Yeah, definitely do that.
So next slide, always remember that people online may not be who they say they are. You've got there, don't tell a stranger personal info, don't send them photos, don't meet them in real life if you obviously don't know them or trust them. Always tell an adult if you're worried they can report it. So that's advice for younger people. It does also apply to anyone who's not sure. If, like you were saying, if you were going to meet someone for the first time, obviously let someone know what's happening. Don't just turn up without letting people know where you're going and who you're going to meet. Get some advice if you're unsure as well, someone you trust. So it's always good to, a problem shared's a problem halved, but it can be really good to get a new set of eyes on it, because to you might think you know someone. Go on then, I'll let you say.
Sometimes it's, particularly things like, we were talking about catfish before, people sometimes see things how they want to see them, I've heard things about where people think that they've been in a relationship with a celebrity for 5 years and stuff like that, and I've never questioned why they've never met or anything like that. And it's because you want that thing to be true rather than seeing it for what the situation really is. So sometimes it's good to get another perspective on it, and to have somebody who might have a more a neutral kind of perspective on things. So it's definitely good to get advice and some second opinions.
Definitely. And then obviously we're not going to keep saying it, but the reporting aspect quite important as well. Which brings us nicely into a not very nice topic of cyberbullying. So first question is, what is it?
What is cyberbullying? So I think most people know what cyberbullying means now, but it's basically, I'm sure everybody knows what bullying means, but cyber literally just means anything digital or online or whatever. So it doesn't just have to be Facebook messages, it doesn't have to be just text, anything where somebody's being harmful, abusive, upsetting to somebody, whatever platform it's on, whatever means of communication it is, those are all classed as cyberbullying. So it's just like the same things that would be construed as bullying in person. I was going to say in real life, but I suppose it is. It's because we talk about it like people have this perception of when you're behind a computer, it's a different world. It's you're using electronic communication to bully someone is what cyberbullying is.
So obviously you've got on there the e.g. Facebook or other social networking sites, online games, apps that allow you to message or call, email or text.
Yeah.
So you've got things like WhatsApp, which isn't a social network, but it's just a messaging app. That would be one way. Any way you can get in touch with someone digitally, basically. So it can be the things that it can include range from upsetting messages, deliberately like excluding people from stuff as well. You've put on there, which I think is quite interesting.
Yeah, like, you know, I think this applies particularly to like young people playing games and stuff. Like, you know, say if you make a guild with everybody in your friend group except one person or something like that.
Or a group chat. Do you know what I mean? It could be a group chat that you've made and you've got left one person out. Again, that sort of thing. Bullying by exclusion. I think Lisa loves a little saying. So should be happy that I've used it. So yeah, just that sort of things I think to look out for. And again, it can be things like removing them. So you're adding them in, saying a bunch of horrible stuff, and then kicking them out as well of the group chat, or being kicked out of the group chat. That can be one. There's the squeak of the door. Oh dear.
Oh no.
Oh, there's a cup of tea there, man. It's fine. Thank you. So yeah, that is something to look out for. And to be honest, I mean, it's not necessarily linked just to younger people. Like I say, it can be people of any age. Harassment online is just like, it's a complete can of worms, really. High profile people get it. People with hardly any following or interaction online get it on things like Twitter. When you've got an open platform like that, basically anyone can make an anonymous account and sort of just scream, you know, bloody murder to anyone they want. And for the last few years there was seemingly no repercussions, but now it seems like the police and Twitter are sort of in a bit more harmony in terms of getting stuff like that sorted. So
it can count as a malicious communication offence now, so it can go up to a prison sentence for it, or it might be a fine or community service.
So and you get racially motivated ones or hate crimes that are like hate speech that takes place on there as well. Inciting a hate crime, that sort of thing, can all happen online. And they are really serious offences, so it's definitely worth reporting them because they will be dealt with.
Definitely.
So just a couple of points on why it's so bad. I don't know if you want to go through them ones, Ella, or do you want me to go through them?
It often repeats, so a lot of the time it's not just like a one-time offence, really. Like, a lot of the time somebody will be targeted repeatedly, possibly for their, you know, maybe it is racially motivated, or for their interests or political views, anything at all. But it often is a repeat thing. It can happen anytime, anywhere, so it can be really hard to switch off from it. You know, if you've got your phone on you and you get notifications all the time with people sending you horrible messages, or you know, leaving horrible comments, or, you know, stuff like that, it can be really hard to get away from that. You know, say if you've got say if bullying's happening face to face, either at school or in the workplace or somewhere else, you know, usually there's a place where that isn't happening, you know, like at home or something like that, where it is like a bit of a safe space. But your phone, or, you know, the internet it's everywhere. It's not like there's somewhere where you can kind of step away from that if you have to use your phone or you have to be online. So it can be really, really hard for people to come away from those things.
Yeah, I think on that note, a lot of people might not speak up about it as well. So obviously if someone's getting bullied in person, like face to face or whatever, it's quite evident that person's doing that. And it can be called out, or you know, it can be quite easy seen. What sometimes happens online, when you look into this from an e-safety point of view, is people will not report the messages and they'll not tell anyone, so they're getting all those private messages spammed at them with all this horrible stuff, and they're not telling anyone, so they're bottling it all up, and like you say, it never ends. and it's just a constant stream of that like negative sort of influence on them, and the horrible things people are saying without it goes completely unnoticed, basically.
Yeah. I think on that note, it can be easier than face-to-face bullying. You know, people do feel like there's that security of being behind the screen where you're not face-to-face with somebody. You know, it can be really hard to go up to somebody and just tell them something horrible.
Yeah.
But when you're behind the screen, you can think about what you're going to say. You can,
Yeah.
you know, there's not like somebody immediately waiting with a response.
Yeah.
And it can feel anonymous, you know.
Yeah.
It's hard to find out who might be saying those things, especially if they've got a username that doesn't relate to their name and things like that. You know, if you're bullying somebody face to face, it's obvious what's going on.
Yeah.
But if it's online, it can be really hard to find out who is responsible for those horrible things. So
what I would say on that, obviously, because that we don't want to be saying like you can't sort it out. What you need to do in that situation is, like we say, take the evidence, because what someone can't do, if you've got a screenshot of a chat that's been going on for 3 weeks where they've been saying all this horrible stuff, they can't turn around and say, I never said that, because there's a record of it. Whereas in person, if someone comes up to you and says something absolutely awful and no one was around to hear it and you weren't recording it, there's absolutely no record of it happening. And it's very much your word against theirs. But if there's a log of messages going back however long, they kind of dispute that. And it's the same with the finding out who's behind it. If it gets tied to their account or to their internet service, or their internet provider number, that's their house or home address, or their device number, which is their phone, it's very, very hard for them to dispute whether it was them or not. It's tied to them, which is good. It's a good thing. You need to be held accountable for what you do and say online. I think there's far too many people out there giving like anonymous abuse. And like I say, Facebook and Twitter have been absolutely hammered in the last couple of years to get a grip on this. So it's about time, really. This is all I would say on that.
Yeah, I would say so too.
Just a quick bit about what you can do about it. So some advice you pulled together there, Ella.
Yeah. So don't respond, because you can just be as bad as the person who's saying these horrible things, and then it can be harder to to say, oh well, that person was obviously being horrible to this person, because if you're saying something horrible back, it's hard to actually see who's in the wrong about it. So definitely don't retaliate. And a lot of the time, I think online bullying and stuff, I think a lot of the time people just want a response, and they want a rise, and they want to have a bit of a battle of keyboards, really. So
that's the modern day battlefield, I think, is behind the keyboard, like.
Yeah. So I think just try not to respond or retaliate, and definitely don't say something hurtful as a response. Just
I think what works quite well is calling them out. I know a lot of the celebrities, if there's an account saying something ridiculous, or like I say, deliberately offensive, or deliberately say racist, or whatever, they'll tend to get called out, and you'll notice pretty quick that those profiles disappear once they get on that radar and they start getting so much abuse back at them. They so making people aware of those accounts will more often than not get them dealt with through reporting, or through them not wanting that level of attention, if you know what I mean. So maybe they were trying to harass someone directly, and then they've got attention from other people obviously calling them out on it, and it's put them off doing it. And you do have things like your unfriend feature, your block features, your report features. Just use them. They're fairly straightforward.
Yeah, definitely. And
it's quite easy to block like communication from people that you don't want on the major sites now.
Yeah, definitely. So I think general advice would be take evidence, take screenshots and stuff, make sure that it is documented.
Think
don't
carefully
be
before
harmful
posting.
back.
Yeah, so that's the next
Yeah.
slide, isn't it? Yeah.
And just make sure that you block and report people who are upsetting you, really.
Yeah. Cool. That brings us nicely into gaming, one of the more toxic areas of the internet, I think, in terms of communication, I'd imagine.
Yes.
So we've got a thing on what games do you play? Do you play any games online? So again, this can apply to people of all ages, I'd imagine.
Yeah, definitely.
Like I say, you don't realise how many people you come into contact with if you go into an online game. Like I say, some games now, it can be up to 150 people that up to 150 that you'd be in contact with at any given time.
Definitely. Or if you're in like a more open world setting, like
World of Warcraft, for example.
Yeah, stuff like that. Like I mentioned before, like RuneScape or I don't know.
There's a few VR ones as well. If anyone plays the VR games,
yeah.
There's a few of them, and they'll be becoming increasingly more and more prevalent. There'll be more and more of those games as the technology gets better.
And more accessible.
All of the newer, there's a new Call of Duty game. That's the one I was referencing, where it's up to 150 people in one game at any one time. So even if you don't speak to them directly, your profile appears in their recent players list. So whatever's on that profile is accessible to up to 150 people at a time in each game. So if you play 10 games, that's 1,500 people have potentially got access to your profile. That's quite a lot.
Yeah, it is.
Especially if you've got things like email addresses, usernames for other social media like Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook. That information is in there. A complete stranger from the other side of the planet could find that information. I
think a lot of people have similar usernames on lots of different channels as well. So if you've got the same username that you have on, I don't know, like your Xbox
Instagram
Live,
and your Xbox Live could be the same, for example.
Yeah, if they're the same, somebody could easily just look up your Instagram profile where you might have, pictures of your life. You've got a picture of your getting your new house that's got the number on the door and your car
picture
registration.
of your family and your kids and stuff that you don't want them. You don't want them to have them pictures. They're your personal pictures. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
So it can be images as well. It doesn't have to be like information. It could be stuff you don't want them to see.
Yeah, like I think we see a lot of people who post pictures of like their young children, on Facebook and things.
Or videos as well. There's a lot of videos out there as well. So just be careful, and it's the same sort of process of what to do if someone's harassing or trying to send unsolicited messages. It's the same sort of process, isn't it, of reporting them and making sure you've got evidence and making sure that your account settings are right and the privacy is correct on them. Next slide. So how to stay safe when gaming. So games aren't all bad. Some adults worry that games are all bad, violence, drugs, or that unsuitable references. Pay attention to the age ratings. So obviously you've got your PEGI ratings, so that always comes up on the advert for a game. So it's like PEGI 18. That's a bad one. That's got all the drugs and all the violence and all the unsuitable references in it, I think.
Yes. So just be mindful, particularly of the age rating on games, and I think most games as well. If you look at if you've got a physical copy, if you on the back of the box, it'll tell you why it's got that rating as well. So it might be just violent, or there might be gore, there might be drugs, other unsuitable things. It'll tell you what kind of content there is in that game and explain a little bit as to why it might have that reference. But it's similar to films, really.
Yeah, very similar. Very similar.
If you don't play games yourself and you're trying to decide whether you think something is suitable for your 14-year-old, would you let them watch a 15?
Yeah.
Then if they would watch a 15, then maybe use that as a guide for what kind of games you think that they would be allowed to play.
Yeah, and the guys who sort the ratings out, which is PEGI, if you go to www.peggy.info, There's an advice section on things like tips for parents, in-game purchases, parental control tools. I think they've got an app as well, so that's a good one. The parental control tools one, I think it's like so it's got a practical guide on all the consoles and smartphones and tablets on how to set them as well.
That's really good.
I'll tell you what, I'm going to put that in the description now, so it's in there. I will tidy the description of this video up. It needs a bit of work. I'm just going to label it helpful resources for now. I will tidy this up, and I'll make sure there's a good set of links in there. But that they've got some practical guides on how to set those up. I will hunt down the Xbox and the PSN ones as well. But basically, that website's really good and has a lot of reasoning behind the ratings, as well as things you can do as a parent to just like lock down certain parts of the account and stuff. How to stay safe when gaming for kids, obviously asking permission, using the PEGI rating system, keeping username and password safe and so strong to stop the hackers, never tell anyone personal information online. Same goes for all the other stuff that we're talking about. If someone's asking you for personal information on one of these games, just because it's in a game, doesn't matter, don't tell them it. Anything that upsets you or harasses you in any way, report and block. Parent or guardian before spending real money. I think that one's really important. What people are trying to do at times as well, they're not even trying to get personal information, they're trying to get you to it's like trying to transfer like bank details over so that they can buy in-game stuff, or trying to get you to gift them something with real money. There's lots of scams running like that, so just be careful with that.
I think sometimes parents don't realise that some online games do have like in-game purchases and stuff.
Definitely.
And I think sometimes young people don't realise they don't have the same grasp of money that older people do, perhaps. I'm sure we've all heard horror stories of kids who've had access to their parents' card details that have been hooked up to that Xbox Live account or something, and spent like £100 on costumes on a game and stuff.
I remember last year, I've just found the article there, so my son spent 3,160 quid in one game.
Oh my god!
It was so this person's son had autism and learning difficulties, and they lodged a complaint to say that the information about microtransactions and buying stuff in game wasn't accessible enough for him to understand. So he was just constantly buying like things over and over and over again. It was in a basketball game. So
oh my god.
Because the way the services work, you pay a monthly fee to have, say, Xbox Live or PlayStation, which allows you to play online and play these games online with other people. Because your credit card or debit card or PayPal is hooked up to that can be used for these charges. So every time you click accept on one of the charges, it just charges whatever card they've got on file. So he just done that over and over and over again, and I think he hit the limit of the card and the bank cut them off. But it managed to spend 3,160 quid before that happened. So you'll see that a lot. One to definitely bear in mind.
It is easy to do though as well.
The thing is, the gaming companies make it easy to do on purpose. They know this is going to happen and they want it to happen. I know. But
even if it's just buying games or add-ons and stuff like that, say if you're on your Xbox, all you need, if the card details or the PayPal's already registered with that, all you need is the password. That's all you need.
Well, certain settings will allow you to do without the password as well. You can just press yes. Again, this is where you need to be looking into your account and the purchasing options. Most of it you can do on the consoles, but it's worth checking the things like the Microsoft and the Sony websites for Xbox and PlayStation, and the details, the payment sections as well. But again, I'll hunt them down and make sure there's a link in the description for them. There's horror stories about the iOS games, like on Apple, where people have spent like 5k and stuff, just to like
Candy Crush.
To build like a fort in Clash of Clans and stuff. So yeah, just be careful with it basically. And the last one, so not adding people that you only know from games on social media, not arranging to meet up with them in real life if you don't know them and you haven't got to know them, and like Ella says, over a number of like phone calls or video calls or whatever, to ensure that they're a real person.
Yep.
Be careful with things like bots and stuff that'll try and get you to click on suspicious links as well, because there's a few of them kicking around on the likes of Xbox Live.
Definitely.
So we've obviously talked about the PEGI ratings, talking to young people about the games they're playing, researching the game yourself to make sure it's appropriate. Can you filter out things like the chat system for profanity, so swear words and stuff? Research that game. I can't remember where it is. I will get the link to this as well. I think there's a website that explains each one. I think it's on the NSPCC website. Checking the game's content. So that's their advice. I will hunt it down because I've used it in similar sessions in the past. And it's basically a big list of different apps and what they do and what to look out for on the different ones. There's ones about, so there's a couple of articles here about online games on this website as well. I will find it. I've got it in the draft. It's not worth me going through now, but basically every time a new app comes out, they sort of review it and see what it's about and what it can do, and they rate it in terms of danger, or like potential misuse of the app. So that'll be a good one to have a look at. So yeah, I don't know if is there anything on that slide that I've missed, Ella? So that's the what to look out for slide, that one. Yeah,
I think that's okay. I think we've covered most things.
2 seconds, let me just close that down. Yeah, so I think we've pretty much covered that. So locking and limiting the account, who they can speak to, who they can add as a friend, that sort of thing. So is this the last section on this, the online shopping one?
Yes.
Okie doke. Right, go on then. Take it away.
Okay, online shopping. I think we all might be doing a bit more online shopping at the moment. I don't know about you guys, but yeah, there's obviously a lot of reasons why we can't be going outside so much. So a lot of people have been buying a lot more online recently. So this is probably quite relevant at the moment. But some people, I think, are a bit wary about online shopping. I know a few particularly older people who don't like the idea of shopping online and stuff, that they think it's unsafe or stuff like that. I would say in general, it's if you're following sort of general e-safety guidelines, it's totally safe. You know, if you've got strong passwords and you're shopping from reputable sites and stuff, I don't think that you'll have a problem with online shopping. But a few things to look out for. So the first thing that you might want to do is check that the web page that you're on is secure. So most browsers, I think now, have this kind of thing. They'll have like a green padlock at the start, and right at the start of the web address as well, it should say HTTPS. The S is the important bit. It stands for secure. So make sure that you're on a secure site if you are putting any bank details in, or if you're buying from that site. Just make sure that it is a secure site.
Yeah, so just quickly on that one, I'll do what I did before, where I've got the display capture open. I will show you what the little certificate says on it. So give me a second. So I've just gone to a Google window. I'll just drag it down a little bit. So you see there, when I go to google.com, there's the padlock there. You can view site information. When you click on the padlock, it'll tell you what the website is doing sometimes as well. So I've blocked my location services on it. I've allowed automatic download. That's because I use Google Drive to download stuff. If I want to do, I can block that. Here, it's telling you your information, for example, passwords or credit card numbers, they're private when they're sent to this site, which means no one can intercept them in the meantime. So you type it in, your computer sends it to their website on their end. In between that, it's encrypted, it's private, so if someone intercepts it in the meantime, it's just a garbled bunch of letters and numbers that makes no sense. And it gets to the other end decodes it, unpacks it from that numbers and letters into your credit card information or debit card information again. And if you click on the learn more, Google does have quite a good sort of help section on what the different signs mean. So it's got secure, info, not secure, or dangerous, and you can click in and see what each one means. Not go into it too much because we're a bit pressed for time at the minute, but this might be worth checking out. And the way you get to that is you just click on the padlock and you click on learn more, and it explains what it means by each of the different symbols, which is really useful.
Good stuff.
Jump back to the PDF. So there you go. Back into online shopping then.
Okay, so the majority of sellers, I think, in general, are reputable. If you're unsure though, it's easy to check. Most places have reviews on them. Things like eBay, Amazon, or even just other websites have particularly like product reviews and stuff. If you want to find out whether, I don't know, if you're buying some trousers and you want to see if they follow the sort of general fit guides, then people might be saying, oh yeah, I ordered a size 10 but they were absolutely massive and they don't fit or whatever. Or somebody might say, I washed them once and all the colour came out of them. So excuse me. So it's quite a good place to find out how, what people think about products and about different sellers. Things to do with prices as well. If an offer sounds too good to be true, it probably is. If you've seen a digital camera on eBay that somebody's listed for £1, that's probably not quite right.
Yeah, or it's just like a picture of a digital camera.
Yeah, like a doll's house digital camera.
Just a tiny.
Like a Barbie digital camera or something.
Yeah. I know people have been done with that when they've bought like chairs. They've bought a chair before, and the picture's been taken. They've taken the picture like right up against the camera, and then it's been delivered. It's been that big. So I just watch out for that and like
things like watches. I've definitely heard stories of like where in the description it says like this is a picture of a Rolex watch.
Yeah.
It is, and it describes the watch, and then they get the picture of the Rolex watch.
This is a picture of a Rolex watch printed on A4 paper. Aye, thanks. So just be careful on eBay because it can be a bit of a wild zone, bit of a bad land.
Just generally, I would say, just kind of check around. Prices from different retailers probably shouldn't be too different. If you want to buy a digital camera and you check on Amazon and you check on Curry's and you check on John Lewis, other retailers are available. The prices probably should be kind of similar. Maybe one of them has a great offer on at the moment, and that's great. But one of them shouldn't be like 30 quid and the other one shouldn't be £3,000. So just kind of check around and do a little bit of research before making any particularly big purchases, I would say.
Yeah, definitely. You've got your reviews as well of product. So
yeah.
You can scroll down on, if it's like an Amazon listing, you can scroll down at the bottom and you can ask a question if you've got one. So what, like, say it was the camera, does it come with a lens? You might be one of your questions. One of the other questions might be like, how long does the battery last when it's on full charge? Yeah. You'll see other people have asked questions, so you can see what they've said. They've left reviews, so they said, oh, well, it was great, but it didn't come with this, or it stopped working after a week, or I just received an empty box. You'll see a range of them on there depending on how good the product is. So just have a check out of the reviews, what other people have written, what questions have asked. If you've got a question, you can ask it. You can get in touch with the sellers directly through that. Same with eBay. They were both largely the same, so they'll have positive or negative feedback as a seller and a star rating. It's definitely worth looking at them because you don't want to be buying off someone who's got like 1 star out of 5 off of 1,000 reviews. So 1,000 people have bought something, and their overall rating's 1 star. Probably not the person to be buying stuff off. So Amazon, hang on. So that's the Amazon screenshot there, with the customer reviews and some of the critical reviews. And then this is an eBay one with some of the feedback on the seller. So this one that we've picked, overwhelmingly positive, which would mean it's got well over 1,000 reviews that say they're good. So in fact 2,000. Sorry, that one. So like a very good, highly rated seller, that one. Positive feedback, 99.6%.
It's very good.
You can also, if it's a site that's not eBay or Amazon and you're not sure about it, you can try a website called Trustpilot. Give you an idea
that is a very good shout.
Of whether the website's real or not, for starters. And you can see some reviews from verified orders, which means they've put in a little code that tells the website that they've definitely bought something from that website.
With Trustpilot as well, it's a really good place to just kind of generally check on things, like say if you're going to change your energy supplier, or if you're going to choose some internet or something like that, or just anything really. It's a good place to check what other people think about that service. So that's
Trustpilot. It's uk.trustpilot.com, but if you just type in Trustpilot to Google, it'll take you there. Let's do it. So I just type in Trustpilot at the top in a Google search. This one, uk.trustpilot.com, and then you'll get a search box there, and you can just search for a company, whatever company you want, and then it'll have some reviews on there. Name a company, Ella.
BT.
Oh dear, I have a feeling this one's going to be real bad. So not a lot of people are happy with BT. But can you see here on the right hand side, it's claimed. So this company is a Trustpilot account. So it means BT, you've claimed this and anything on here. So you can see the good reviews, you can see the bad reviews. And then, like you say, so if you're looking to take out a new service, like broadband, a phone, energy supplier, that sort of thing, if it's a website you want to use to buy stuff, I wonder if eBay has one. I don't know if eBay does, to be honest. Stores.ebay, have a search on there.
The one thing I was going to say about Trustpilot though is a lot of people will use it particularly for after a bad experience. I think like if you have a good service, I think it's kind of what you expect. So you're not
likely to shout about it, are you? It's just
unless somebody really goes out of their way for you.
Or they ask you for a review. You get that as well from time to time.
But in general, I think most people tend to leave reviews when they've had a bad experience.
Oh, definitely.
So
I mean, it's the way the world works, isn't it?
It's something to consider anyway with things like Trustpilot.
And the reviews in general, to be honest. I think Amazon are quite good because they sort of like bully you to death to do a review when you get a product. So they're like, remember that thing you bought 6 weeks ago? How is it? Is it all right? Like, and you're like, well, I can't really remember, but yeah, sure, go on, then I'll give it 5 stars because I didn't have any problems. It's quite easy to write a review on things like Amazon. So again, if you think something was good when it arrived, might be helpful to pass that forward to other people online and say, you know what, actually that was kind of good. I enjoyed that camera that I bought, or that pack of 64 blue pens that I bought on Amazon for £4. None of them have run out yet, so that's fantastic. I was just quickly looking around the office and I couldn't think of anything to say because there's so much tat in here. Anyway, so that just have a look around, shop around, do some reviews. Only use trusted sites, secure connection. We've got a little bit of information on companies having your permission, so you shouldn't receive too many spam emails if you don't want them. If you now should be able to opt out of most internet communication that's coming via email. It's actually against the law for them to send you it without your consent, thanks to GDPR. So you can now say no, and if they continue to spam you with these emails, you can make a formal complaint. And that I'd go down the route of contacting things like Citizens Advice, and if I remember right, I found the link to the Information Commissioner's Office as well. They will handle complaints around that as well. So you can report spam, text, and nuisance sales calls as well. I believe there's some way to do it about emails as well. So that's the ICO, Information Commissioner's Office, can report them too, which is really useful.
Yes.
So yeah, if you want to quickly talk about the payment methods, then Ella.
Sure. So a lot of people worry about kind of having their bank details and stuff online. I think this is the scary bit for most people.
Definitely.
Generally, credit is safer. If you're gonna do like credit versus debit, so say if you're like maybe if you're buying a big purchase, a lot of credit cards have like extra security on purchases over a certain amount.
Yeah.
So if you buying a a £700 digital camera, you might want to think about putting it on your credit card rather than your debit card. But I would probably recommend that you use PayPal anyway for shopping online. PayPal kind of acts like a middleman in between the site and your bank. So PayPal keeps the your bank information kind of within PayPal, and just and the company goes through PayPal. So it's like an extra layer of security. PayPal basically holds your, say, card details and stuff like that. You also have like a PayPal balance and stuff. So it's really good. It's really safe. It's in PayPal's interest to be an extra safe platform. That is the entirety of their business. If they weren't, they wouldn't have a business. So they're really trustworthy. So don't worry about having like a PayPal account and things like that. So it's a really, really good service and worth having. Definitely.
You can cancel payments and transactions from their dashboard as well. So you log into it almost like an online banking service, and you can see the pending payment, especially for things like Xbox Live, any microtransactions that have happened. So if someone's bought something within a game, or bought a game, or bought an add-on, or some music, or a movie, it'll all pop up on there in quite plain, simple English in terms of what it is. So sometimes on your bank statement it's very confusing when you go through and you're like, well, I don't know what that is, because companies name themselves really daft stuff. So yeah, it's quite transparent in that way, and they have quite a good service in terms of disputing a payment as well. There's like an ironclad process with it to say, well, look, that wasn't me, or that was done in error, and I want a refund, I want to cancel this, that, and the other. It's quite easy to use. I think they've got an app as well. I think you can get that on your phone, can't you? I haven't used it, I just use it on a computer, but I believe the app's fairly easy to use as well, the mobile app. Yeah,
I've not used the app, but I just think generally PayPal's pretty easy to use.
Yeah, I've been using it for about 10 years or something now, and I haven't had any issues with it yet, so... It's one good way if anyone's looking to, it's slight tangent, but if anyone is looking to take online payments as well, you can do it as a seller. So if you're trying to sell things on eBay, very much safer way of doing it. I know people sometimes, like the window cleaners and stuff, will take it as a way of managing like online payments, because they don't want just the personal bank details to be given out. So they can give out a PayPal email, and that's a lot safer for them if they're taking payment.
I've seen a lot of like I don't know, I think like if you've ever had like a food truck somewhere, like sometimes their card payments and stuff,
so it's like a little white box, isn't it? It's just it's about that big,
PayPal box.
And you just tap your card on it like contactless, and it that goes straight into their PayPal account. Really, really good service. I highly recommend. There is another one called Stripe that we haven't got on here as well.
Yes.
Which is it's a similar service, but it's sort of like an e-wallet, so it keeps your card on file and then doesn't give that information out to the websites that you use it on. A little bit safer than putting your card details directly into a website, which always makes me a little bit like skitsy with it. I don't like it. Gives me the butterflies when I have to do it. So just another one to bear in mind. And I think we've just got some helpful links on the end of there.
Yeah, that's it really.
So obviously, learn my way, stay safe online, skills you need, cyber aware. I'll put all these again in the description. I've dropped a few things in the description.
Yeah, I'll update the slide.
Yeah, the telephone preference service is in there. I managed to find that list of apps, which was on NetAware, so you can check those out, what the apps do and whether they're dangerous or not. Got the Peggy.info/parental controls, which has some guidance on that. I'll find some on the gaming networks like Xbox Live and PlayStation Network as well, and drop them in there. And if there's anything we've missed, just let us know, and I will paste the link to that survey in there again. If you guys could have a go at doing that, and please get in touch with us, if you haven't already, about the enrolment form.
Yes, please do that.
How long is it? It's not very long, is it, the enrolment form? It's like...
No, it's like, I don't know,
some very basic information we need from you.
Yeah, it's not very long.
Okay.
Doesn't take long at all.
And like I say, our contact information, as always, is just our email addresses, which I've put in the chat. And they'll be in the description. Drop us a message on Facebook or Twitter if you're on there as well. Even directly to the page, that's fine.
Yeah, totally fine.
It doesn't matter. We will action that appropriately. We will protect your information with our lives.
Yeah.
The utmost e-safety and GDPR going on that we can possibly provide. I think that was it, wasn't it? I think that's everything.
That is all.
So yeah, please just fill that survey, and that'll be one of the ways we can get in touch with you about the enrolment form. If you can, if you're watching it back on a replay as well, the comments are open if you've got any questions. If it's something a little bit more personal that you want to go through, but you want to have a chat to us about, drop us a private message, like I say, via email or Facebook or whatever. Because the comments will be on public, so just be careful with that. The chat should be playing if you're watching the live stream back. And I'm trying to think if I've missed anything. I think that's
I was going to say something, I forgot.
Yeah, same. I forgot. I'll probably remember in about 20 minutes when we're not live anymore. It always happens. But hopefully... go on.
If there's anything else that you want to see us do a stream about, just pop that in the survey or in the comments or anything like that. If you've got anything in particular that you would like a dedicated stream about, then just let us know and we can probably make that happen. And
we're aiming to put them out as a replay, so we should hopefully have a chat functionality set up at some point with the replay. I'm looking into it now as to how how it's best to do it. But if you're watching it as just a static video and you're watching it in your own time or whatever, just remember that the live chat's just a replay. So anything you want to ask us, comments, message, whatever, email, that's going to be the way to do it. And in the meantime, take care and have a good weekend, because it's actually Friday.
Yes.
It's like May Day and that, isn't it?
It is, yes.
So with that in mind, the stream is going down. Thanks for joining in today, guys. Anyone who's been in the chat, obviously Webb's been here, Andy's been here, Lisa, Mel. So yeah, cheers for dropping by, and we'll see you soon. You. See you soon. Oh, staying connected this afternoon as well. Special guest. We've mentioned Learn My Way, so that's relevant. So get yourself tuned into that. And, spoiler alert. Just a little one though, just a little sprinkle, sprinkle a little spoiler on it. Anyway, right. See you later, guys. Okay, bye. Bye then.